What's up, NASCAR Authentics fans? David Land here, bringing you a review of Wave 4 of the 2017 Lionel NASCAR Authentics line. We've got another, I believe, exclusive Xfinity car. Couple Fords, couple Chevys. Can't say I was that impressed when they revealed this wave, what seems like 8 months ago at this point. But there's some interesting choices, especially considering recent events with the NASCAR Monster Energy Series. So let's get into it. Let's not waste any more of your time. This is wave number 4, and this is the first car we're taking a look at. Car numero uno we are taking a look at is Kasey Kahne's number 5 Great Clips car, the car we seem to get every year, and it never gets old, does it? I think this may be the first time we've gotten this car in this scheme in the Lionel NASCAR Authentics, though it's possible I have forgotten a Great Clips release. Here's the back of the package, the first and only time you will hopefully see that during this review. There's the new NASCAR Authentics logo. Looks fairly interesting, albeit a little bit generic, but it is different. And we have finally purged the last remnants of Spin Master from NASCAR Authentics. For some, that's a sad thing. For others, that's a happy thing. So, let's get this thing out of its box. Of course, I believe this is the first wave of cars that has kind of been corrected for the Monster Energy Cup Series, meaning there's no name rails or anything, just generic NASCAR logos all over them. So, here's the Great Clips number 5, a nice matte finish. So let's take a closer look at this one. So the Great Clips car comes with a Great Clips magnet. Pretty generic, though for all of 5 of you Kasey Kahne fans left, I'm sure you will enjoy that. Not much to go over, as you can see. There is indeed a magnet on the back. So, getting closer to this old Great Clips heap, as John Force might say. Pretty nice car. I do like the matte finish on it. They've subtly changed this scheme over the years as Kasey Kahne tries to run away from all my bad jokes I'm about to make. Yeah, they've changed it subtly over the years. I'm sure some people will enjoy getting this scheme on the old Lionel mold for the Gen 6 car, because the last couple times we have gotten it, which was now almost 3 years ago, was in the Spin Master waves, and obviously those cars had a significantly, I won't say negative response to them, but I will say mixed. It was definitely a mixed response to the old Spin Master cars. So for those of you who want a NASCAR Authentics Great Clips car that maybe looks a little bit more great, bad pun. This is a great choice, I would imagine. We haven't been really short on Kasey Kahne cars, though. They even re-released the old Aquafina car, so we've seen a lot of Kane recently. So no real big shocker that we're seeing more of Kane. But as you can see, this is the big difference. This is the big difference. We do not have name rails at all, either front or back on the car. No Monster Energy logos. In fact, no NASCAR logo on this Hendrick Motorsports car. So, yeah, and unfortunately, that's going to be the state of Diecast from now on in NASCAR. Lot of inaccuracies, considering the fact that supposedly 164s are for children, and they don't want Monster Energy on there, so unfortunately we're going to end up with fairly inaccurate diecast coming out of the 164 range. And to add on insult to injury, Hendrick Motorsports cars are never going to be accurate because there is a conflict of interest between the title sponsor of Monster Energy and Pepsi, which is a longtime sponsor of Hendrick Motorsports. Well, that's unfortunate. Let's move on to a car that's actually slightly accurate. And, well, actually, no, it's not. I forgot about a big, gigantic logo on top of it. That's probably a pretty good hint about what it is. So the next car we are taking a look at is the Jimmie Johnson Championship car. Not a champ car. This is, I don't understand why this was released. There was one in Wave 3 that was the actual car that won Homestead, which was the Lowe's car, and now we've got the Kobalt car in the very next wave. Maybe just because it's the last Sprint Cup Series Chase Champion Diecast, I guess. So they wanted to keep going with this. I don't understand it particularly all that much. The packaging looks nice, I suppose. So let's rip it open. Yeah. I can't remember the last time we got a Kobalt car. There was definitely one in last year's waves at some point, but for the life of me, I cannot remember exactly when it came out. But regardless, the final Sprint Cup NASCAR Cup champion, Jimmie the Juggernaut Johnson. So here you go, out of the box, the 7-time Chase winner, Jimmie Johnson. Here is the trading card you get. You can see all the nice Sprint themed stuff all over it. And another strong season for Johnson, another title. You can read all that. I'm not going to read it, but you certainly can. Nice looking card if you are a Jimmie Johnson fan. This is probably one you are going to want in your collection, maybe just for the trading card. So let's get a tight shot on the old Kobalt Tools car. So it's not a terrible diecast, I suppose. I mean, if you do want the Kobalt car in the Chase livery, I think this may be the only way you can get it, which is kind of unfortunate because of the fact that, it does have this gigantic Sprint Cup Series logo on it, especially because that is no longer the name or sponsor of the series. But it's not a big deal. There are some cool details on this that I'm about to show off. You may have already noticed them in the tight shot here, but regardless, I'm still going to show them off because this is a review after all, and we definitely want to get the most complete review out there to you guys. And boy, do these cars not want to stay in frame today. It's just been one of those days, folks, with the with cars rolling out of the screen. So let's take a closer look at this car. So obviously you've got the Chase name rail. This is the only car in the wave that has a name rail of any kind, which is an interesting thing to point out considering there's a car from a completely different series in this wave. Then you've got the race winners stickers, 5 of them, owed 5 time. Then you've got the NASCAR Chase for the Cup, and this is the championship. Does that say championship 4? That's really hard to read, but if that says championship 4, I believe that's not correct. I don't think he won. He did not win Homestead in the Kobalt car, so that's a bit funny. I guess Kobalt and Lowe's really wanted the diecast out of the champion in the Kobalt tool scheme and accuracy. Be darned. Also, you've got a nice yellow splitter, which is par for the course with the Chase cars. I have to say, the Chase cars are getting a little bit stale at this point, Lionel. I would say if you continue the Chase cars, you do a 16-car set and get us all of them, because releasing Chase cars in the middle of the year, it's not really that great considering that pretty much everything has changed since the time that Jimmie Johnson was crowned Chase champion. So let's move on to the next car in the wave, and another one we've seen a lot of in NASCAR Authentics over the years. Nothing like a Kelley Blue Book scheme to let you know that it is indeed a wave of NASCAR Authentics. However, this is not a Dale Jr., which is nice, even though we've already gotten 2 of these in NASCAR Authentics prior to this, the Lionel version, I should say, in the Chase Elliott scheme. However, I believe this is a quite a bit different paint scheme than we're used to. You also get an interesting hat, which we're going to take a look at here in a second. But yeah, Kelley Blue Book car, we usually get one, and this is our Kelley Blue Book paint scheme of the year. So let's get it out and take a look at Chase. I just wanted to point out that the packaging does look kind of nice. I like how they kind of went back to the yellow 24. Anyway, wait, yellow 24. This is gold. Okay, whatever. Let's open this thing up, take a look at it, and that's an interesting thing we're going to take a look at. I was like, whoa, what the heck is going on? I was like, is this a magnet? It didn't feel like a magnet, but I think it is a magnet. So, Kelly Blue Book out of the box. So out of the box, here is Chase Elliott's Kelly Blue Book car, but I want to take a look at this weird thing, which is a Kelly Blue Book official guide hat magnet. What? Where did they get the idea for this? But it is indeed a magnet. Yeah, that's just a weird choice. Weird choice. But this is probably not a weird choice. It's probably a pretty safe choice. A Chase Elliott car, a former Dale Jr. paint scheme. Pretty much all the things that you would expect from a Wave of NASCAR Authentics. In fact, it's interesting because this wave is one of the few waves of NASCAR Authentics that does not have a Dale Jr. car in it. I'm guessing they're preparing for the inevitable next year. And that goes to the subject, as my car will just not stay... All right, Chase. The car will just not stay on the thing, but that goes to the subject of how much the Diecast NASCAR industry is going to change next year with the loss of Dale Jr. You would imagine that Lionel's business plan revolves a lot around sales of Dale Jr. cars. So, I theorize that we may not see very many small teams getting diecast made anymore because Lionel cannot subsidize those diecast with lots and lots of Dale Jr. sales. Just a theory, but I think it's right. We got a bit of a paint chip there that has caused some troubles. I do like the nice blue metal flake paint, as well as metal flake in the gold. It is different than last year for sure. I think most people know that already in the comments, so why am I telling you that? But yeah, not a bad paint scheme. Certainly not one of my favorites, though. I definitely think the Napa car for Chase Elliott looks a lot better than this one. But I think Chase Elliott's kind of the replacement for Dale Jr., at least in the minds of NASCAR and the people who market NASCAR. So we'll be seeing a lot of Chase Elliott stuff in the coming years. And let's move on to another car and driver that we see a lot of merchandise from. Nothing says July like a tax-sponsored car. So here is Danica Patrick's TaxAct number 10. Of course, this car and a lot of other tax-related cars run early in the season because, of course, April 15th is tax day. And you got to get your taxes done, otherwise Uncle Sam's coming after you. Actually, there you go. There's your July reference. Uncle Sam, 4th of July. Something like that. So, this is the TaxAct car. Let's get it out of its box. Obviously, this was the replacement, or one of the replacement sponsors for Nature's Bakery. But now Nature's Bakery is back with Danica Patrick. Ironically, however, I saw that there was a charity associated with that paint scheme. So I have to wonder, did Nature's Bakery say, yeah, we'll sponsor your car, but we'd like to write it off our taxes? Look at that segue. Let's move on and take a closer look at this. I was going to say bad boy, but a bad girl drives it. Ooh. One way or the other, the career of Danica Patrick has been fascinating. Just such a weird... I think there's going to be books and movies written about it for generations, just from the... just all the weird stuff that has happened, and not a whole lot of success. In fact, I believe one major victory, which was IndyCar at Motegi in 2008, to show for it at this point, of course. Obviously, we've still got a little ways to go, I think, in Danica's career, though there are the rumors that she's starting to think about retirement. But anyway, I think this is an interesting-looking paint scheme for sure. It's the gray and the red you usually don't see together, so I do kind of like it from that perspective. I think it's definitely a better paint scheme than the Nature's Bakery one for sure. But yeah, you don't see it very much, of course, because of the fact that tax season only happens once a year. It's like Christmas, except for the government. Yeah, it's an interesting car. I do think it's kind of funny that we see that Nature's Bakery like a, I guess this is accurate again, even though Nature's Bakery was never on the car when the tax schemes were running. But yeah, this is a nice diecast. I think, excuse me, I think Lionel did a really good job putting this together. I think it's got a nice shine to it. It feels nice in my hand. The paint feels really thick. There are no errors or anything on it. Yeah, if you need a Danica car and you want a 2017 car and you don't really want a Nature's Bakery car, or at least a car without a big Nature's Bakery logo on it, I'd pick this one. Unless, of course, we're getting the Aspen Dental car or one of Danica's other sponsors, maybe the Haas car. Did she run a Haas car this year? I can't even remember. Yeah, not a bad car. But certainly the next three cars in the Wave are ones that I think a lot of people are going to be going after. So Ryan Blaney's 21. We have gotten this car pretty recently in the past in NASCAR Authentics. However, this maybe has the best pack-in I've seen for any NASCAR Authentics so far, and it's this magnet. So it's definitely probably worth your time to pick up, maybe just for the magnet. So let's get the Ryan Blaney car out. Of course, he won at Pocono this year, finally breaking through for a victory. Oh, this is very nice. We're going to be taking a close look at that in just a few seconds. But obviously, he's starting to find some real success and quickly becoming one of the stars of the Monster Energy Cup Series. So let's take a look at his car, shall we? So the classic Wood Brothers Ford, but we got to take a look at this. The magnet. And it is a 3D helmet of Ryan Blaney. And it is nice. This is maybe the best pack-in we have seen from Lionel's NASCAR Authentics in quite some time, maybe ever. I don't know if this is actually a brand new mold that they've brought out, or it's something from Winter Circle. I know we've seen some Winter Circle molds that they've brought out earlier. So let me know in the comments where this came from, because it is a very nice pack-in piece. Easily the best one we have gotten thus far. So let's get a closer look at the 21. And obviously it's pretty much the same as the release last year. The only difference, of course, being that there are no Sprint Cup logos and no name rails. Aside from that, I think it's pretty much the same. Pretty hard to tell any differences that stand out to me. Aside from, I think, contingencies, there are less contingencies just across the board, not just counting the Sprint logo. But obviously, you know, if you didn't catch this car the first time, which I think some people did have some trouble finding this one, because I think it was one of the more desired cars of the wave that it was in. I think it was like Wave 6, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, I think people are going to be looking after this car. I think a lot of people are going to be interested in it because of the fact that Blaney is becoming one of the heavy hitters in Monster Energy Cup Series, Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series, something about that. But yeah, not a lot to say about it, but it is a nice diecast, though I would probably say pick it up for the magnet. On to another rising star of the NASCAR Cup Series. So, the guy who is now the Pied Piper, the plate track master, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., 2 wins on both of NASCAR's plate tracks. And this diecast is interesting because of the fact that obviously it is one of the hottest drivers in the series right now, at least on the plate tracks. It is also a new mold. Yes, a new mold, or at least a revised mold. We're going to take a look at the differences between this car and the old cars. I believe this is where diecast are headed. So let's get it out. We haven't gotten a Fastenal Stenhouse car since the throwback wave, so that is interesting. There's the magnet that comes with it. I think all but one of the pack-ins are magnets, just for those of you keeping track. And here is the Fastenal 17 out of its box. So here it is, the Fastenal car out of its box. As you can see, here's the magnet, and obviously it's celebrating Fastenal's 50th year anniversary. So if you work at Fastenal, or you're interested in Fastenal, or you're a Fastenal fan for some reason, yeah, now have a magnet to commemorate your company, or or your supplier. I believe they're a tool or part supplier, something like that. But this is a nice looking car. Obviously, just from the paint scheme alone, I like it quite a bit. I've always kind of been a fan of the Fastenal car, even when Carl Edwards drove it. Of course, the Fastenal paint scheme was the part of the reason I do NASCAR Authentics videos. The first NASCAR Authentics I did a video on was Carl Edwards' number 99 Fastenal 2012 Ford Fusion. And now we're in 2017, and we're looking at Ricky Stenhouse's Fastenal Ford Fusion. So, we don't even need to talk about the paint scheme. We need to talk about the mold change, which is this. Look how small the spoiler is. That is a tiny spoiler. Just for comparison, let's get the Blaney car out. Look at that. That is a huge difference. Huge. Now, I didn't know that they were revising the 1/64 scale mold. I did know that they were doing the 124 spoilers smaller, but that is a pretty sizable difference between the two. Obviously, this is a Ford as well. So I'm interested to know if we're going to not only see the Toyotas and, well, we haven't even seen new Toyotas yet. I don't even know if the Gold Series has even gotten new Toyotas yet. But I am interested to see if the Toyotas and Chevys plus the Xfinity cars end up getting this spoiler. Real quick look around the rest of the car. You also get the new NASCAR logo, which I believe is on Chase Elliott's car. There you go. So that's on Chase Elliott's car. It's not on Blaney's, and it's not on Kane's or Danica's. In fact, Danica's has got the old NASCAR race car logo, which looks like it's from about 2004. But yeah, so a couple of cars have the new NASCAR logos, but still no name rails or anything Monster Energy associated, even though that's interesting. I don't know if that's just because they wanted it green or because of Monster. Who knows? But not a bad car, and especially because it's a new mold, I think you should definitely pick it up so that you have one of the new cars. So, speaking of new cars, let's move on to the final car in the wave, and the one I was most looking forward to. Say what you will about Cup Series leeches in the Xfinity and Truck Series. At least we get diecast of the cars because the leeches run. This is the Hunt Brothers Pizza, number 41, Kevin Harvick, for the brand new Xfinity team for this year, Stewart-Haas Racing. Of course, Stewart-Haas Racing has been around for about 12, 13 years in the actual NASCAR series, but for Xfinity, it's their first season. And we've got an Xfinity car. In fact, we are getting Coleslaw Custer later on this year, probably around December when that wave will show up. But this is a very nice paint scheme. I don't know when it's run or when it will run, but probably it runs when Harvick runs. And Harvick doesn't do too many Xfinity Series races, even though he did a K&N race for some reason. Somebody had to figure that one out for me. But let's take a look at this car, because it is a nice paint scheme. We haven't ever seen a Hunt Brothers car in any form of the NASCAR Authentics. And in fact, I'm pretty sure we haven't really seen many in the Gold Series. But here it is, the 41 Hunt Brothers Pizza Ford Mustang. So, happy Harvick's, happy Hunt Brothers Mustang. Here is the magnet you get with it. Pretty generic, obviously. Has anyone ever had Hunt Brothers Pizza? I think it's in gas stations, right? Right? It's like gas station pizza. Maybe it's not. Maybe I've just insulted the Hunt Brothers Pizza people who have totally watched 20 or 30 minutes into a NASCAR Authentics review just to watch a review of their NASCAR Authentics car. And if you have, be sure to hit the subscribe button. Maybe send me some free pizza. Maybe, I don't care if it's gas station pizza, as long as it's free. That's all that matters to me. Did hear a rumor that there's a Busch logo on this car, so we are going to take a really close look for that. Though, not positive we're going to see one. But if we did get a Busch logo, that will be very interesting indeed. Obviously, I do like these Xfinity cars. I think they look pretty good. I like the fact that they are part of the pony cars. They look like the pony cars. And by pony cars, of course, you mean the Muscle cars, American muscle. Even though this one is interesting because it doesn't have like the doors on it, which is pretty interesting. So, I was told there's a Busch logo on there. Yes, right there. Right there. A Busch beer logo. It's very, very small, but it is there. So, folks, let me see if I can get the light on it a little bit better. Let's move the lighting around. Yeah, right there. Busch beer, everybody. On a NASCAR Authentics in the toy aisle. Hashtag exposed. So, that's probably a reason to pick this car up as well. It's got accurate logos, not on a base. All good. Textron is interesting. That was a sponsor of the Rahal, Team Rahal Indy Lights team, where fabulous driver Mike Borkowski raced for. Fun fact. Even though we've got the old NASCAR race car logo, it looks like, but it's like folded in on itself. Xfinity Series, Goodyear in blue, Mustang. Let's move the light back around so we can get a little bit better color on this old Hunt Brothers pizza car. Of course, why is there no name rail back here? I'm pretty sure they didn't change the rules. And, yeah, no name rail. That's unfortunate, but whatever. I like it. I prefer the Xfinity cars this way anyway, but I know a lot of people are sticklers for accuracy, including myself. So when part of me likes it that they didn't do that right, and part of me doesn't. What is this logo back here? That's really hard to tell. But anyway, we've got a Busch beer logo on a NASCAR Authentics. Everything is right with the world. Let's take a look at the whole wave together, and I'll give some final thoughts. So there it is, 2017 Wave 4. What do you think? What do you think of the Busch Series logo? Oh boy, it's been a long day, folks. The Busch logo on the 41. What do you think of the 41? I think it's a toss-up between the 41 and the 17, or the 17 and the 41, depending on what you want to call it, for the best car in the wave. I might have to give the leaning towards the 41, despite the fact that it's the old mold, and there's a couple inaccuracies. That Busch logo is very interesting, and the paint scheme and car choice itself is very interesting as well. So that's probably my choice, even though definitely a close second is the new mold 17. But again, let me know in the comments which cars you are picking up, which ones are your favorite from this wave, and also subscribe for more NASCAR and racing content. So thank you guys so much for watching. This has been David Land on YouTube, and we will see you in the next video.